Welcome to another episode of NAN Villa Weekly Review. President Bola Tinubu has pledged to eliminate all barriers stalling Nigeria's agricultural potential, especially in livestock production, in a push towards food sovereignty and global exports. The president made the declaration during a bilateral meeting with the Brazilian President Lula da Silva at the Copacabana Fort in Brazil. The president said that excessive bureaucracy had delayed progress in agriculture and Nigeria was undertaking reforms to make the sector globally competitive. He highlighted agriculture as a key area where Nigeria holds a natural competitive advantage that can be unlocked through smart partnerships.
The African continent is creating the path through the African Carbon Market Initiative and Great Green Wall. We believe that eventually COP30 will strengthen our resolve to strategically embrace a healthy global environment.
President Bola Tinubu and Prime Minister Philip Pierre have agreed to formalize diplomatic relations between Nigeria and St. Lucia. The agreement was reached during Tinubu's courtesy visit to Pierre's official residence in Castries, the capital of St. Lucia. Tinubu expressed appreciation for the warm reception, describing St. Lucians as valued friends and brothers. St. Lucia has conferred its highest national honor, the Knight Commander of the Order of St. Lucia, on President Bola Tinubu. The honor was awarded in recognition of President Tinubu's efforts to strengthen historical and cultural ties between Africa and the Caribbean region. Mr. Errol Childs, Governor General of St. Lucia, performed the formal investiture during an official reception held Monday night at Government House, Mount Fortune. President Tinubu, who will now carry the honorific title Sir, expressed deep appreciation to the government and people of St. Lucia for the recognition. He described the award as a symbol of growing ties between Nigeria and St. Lucia and pledged to deepen relations with the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States. President Bola Tinubu has urged St. Lucian students to harness the power of the kid. President Bola Tinubu has urged St. Lucian students to harness the power of education to shape a more prosperous and united Afro-Caribbean future. The president stated this while addressing students at the Sir Arthur Lewis Community College in Mount Fortune, the fourth day of his state visit to St. Lucia. Engaging with students, faculty, and staff of the institution, Tinubu underscored the role of education in building a resilient and interconnected Afro-Caribbean community. He praised the institution, named after Nobel laureate Sir Arthur Lewis, as a beacon of academic excellence and social transformation.
What you get out of this college is your own, that you can use to achieve anything in life. Just be determined, be consistent, and be very bold.
President Bola Tinubu has pledged to address the challenges facing Nigerians in St. Lucia and other parts of the world through diplomatic engagement. He made the pledge during an interactive session with members of the Nigerian community in Castries, the capital of St. Lucia. The event was organized by the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, chaired by Abike Dabiri Erewa. President Tinubu urged Nigerians living in St. Lucia to remain law-abiding and serve as good ambassadors of the country.
I will continue to work diplomatically and ensure that we strengthen the relationship in a way that will be mutually beneficial to the citizens of the two countries.
Vice President Kashim Shettima says Nigeria will soon phase out diesel dependency and cut carbon emissions through the nation's integrated hybrid energy system. Shettima said this while declaring open the Decarbonizing Infrastructure in Nigeria Summit in Abuja. He warned that Nigeria would struggle to compete or catch up with the world if the nation's climate dreams do not align with its development realities.
Discussions are currently underway with private investors to commit nearly $60 million to electrify the port and transform it into Nigeria's first green port.
President Bola Tinubu says his administration is changing the story of infrastructure development in Nigeria through the execution of tangible projects across the country. Tinubu stated this at the inauguration of the dualized and upgraded Ushafatu War College and Army Checkpoint Roads and other ancillary roads in Buhari Area Council of the FCT. He restated his administration's resolve to build a Nigeria where every community is connected, every business thrives, and every citizen enjoys a life of dignity and opportunity.
There is something even more remarkable to celebrate today. This entire project was awarded to an indigenous contractor, and that decision by the FCT administration was deliberate. It was born out of our belief in the competence, resilience, and ingenuity of Nigerian professionals and businesses. We are not just building roads, we are building capacity.
Vice President Kashim Shettima has implored members of the National Council on Privatization to conduct all transactions with the highest regard for public interest. Shettima made the call during the second NCP meeting for the year 2025 held at the Presidential Villa, Abuja. The Vice President stressed the need for transparency, accountability, and legal due diligence in Nigeria's privatization process. Vice President Kashim Shettima says President Bola Tinubu's administration has repositioned cassava production to drive industrial development and reduce imports. Shettima said this at the Presidential Villa during the 2025 World Cassava Day celebration. He said cassava, once a symbol of food security for the vulnerable, now holds potential for industrial prosperity.
Where our fields are not only bountiful, but profitable. Where Nigeria leads, not just in tons harvested, but in values created. As we commemorate the World Cassava Day 2025, let us commit ourselves to action.
Vice President Kashim Shettima has inaugurated the Board of Directors of the National Credit Guarantee Company Limited at the Presidential Villa, Abuja. Shettima urged the board to deepen financial inclusion and unlock Nigeria's grassroots economy. The company is designed to serve as a financial backbone for micro, small, and medium enterprises facing limited access to affordable credit.
Expected to chart a course that combines prudence with courage, accountability with ambition. We look to you to translate policy into practice and vision into value.